So children, today we'll be starting with chemical weathering. So first let us see what is weathering. You remember weathering is the disintegration or decomposition of the rocks near the earth's surface, and it is caused by different elements of weather like temperature, precipitation. So we had studied in the previous class that there are three types of weathering: physical, chemical and biological. And we completed physical weathering, which is the disintegration of rocks without any change in the chemical composition of the rocks. Now we start with chemical weathering. So chemical weathering results in changing the composition of minerals which are present in the rocks. So old minerals get decomposed and new minerals are formed due to chemical changes. And as I had already told all of you that chemical weathering is common especially in the rainy areas, in the humid areas. So when rainfall takes place, then it combines with the atmospheric gases and it forms an acidic solution. This acidic water, when it comes in contact with the minerals of the rocks, a series of chemical reactions take place which bring about decomposition of the rock. So children, types of chemical weathering we'll be studying. Alright, the water percolates. Then as I told you, the rainwater combines with the various gases. So reaction with oxygen, reaction with acid over here means the acid rain which takes place, meaning not with reference to pollution, but already there are so many gases which are present in the atmosphere. So they combine with rainwater, they become an acidic solution. Then reactions with organisms, we are not going to study about it because it is not in our course. But like for example, when there are certain plants, their roots, they give out certain secretions. So these roots bring about some biochemical weathering. Alright, but we are not concerned about that. There are four main processes which are involved in chemical weathering: oxidation, carbonation, hydration and solution. We'll be studying about each one of them. First is oxidation. Alright, from the name itself you can understand that oxygen plays an important role in this type of chemical weathering. Alright, so it means reaction of minerals in the rocks to atmospheric oxygen. Now, the rainwater also contains atmospheric oxygen. On coming in contact with the iron compounds in the rock, the iron starts rusting or crumbling, and the color changes to red, yellow or brown, as you can see in this picture. So children, in this slide you can see the rocks which are exposed to oxidation, how their color changes. So this is an example again of oxidation, the process in which the iron compounds combine with the atmospheric oxygen to form iron oxide or rust. So ultimately the rock just decomposes and there's a change in the chemical composition. That is why it's called chemical weathering. Now the next is the process of carbonation. So what happens is that mineral constituents of the rocks, when they come in contact with water dissolved with carbon dioxide, it has an acidic effect on the rocks. So carbonation refers to the absorption of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere by minerals present in the rocks. So rainwater contains carbon dioxide in solution as it absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Now, when the rainwater falls on rocks which are specially rich in calcium carbonate, so this becomes, as you can see in the picture, that this becomes calcium bicarbonate. And calcium bicarbonate is more easily soluble and it is removed as the water flows on the rocks or seeps. below the surface. So here children, you can see the entire process. First, the carbon dioxide, it combines with water and it forms carbonic acid. Now when this carbonic acid comes in contact with rocks which are rich in calcium carbonate, especially limestone, it forms calcium bicarbonate, which is easily soluble in water. In this picture, you can see how the limestone rocks have been subjected to carbonation. Alright, some bits and pieces of the rocks have been removed. The soluble minerals have been removed, so automatically the chemical composition has changed. The next type of chemical weathering is hydration. So hydration is the process by which some minerals absorb water and they turn into a powdery mass. Alright, so expansion of minerals occurs when they come in contact with rainwater. So these minerals become heavy and they start disintegrating. This action it is though it can be termed as physical because it causes disintegration, but its effect in hydration is a chemical process. All right, like for example, there are certain rocks, like for example, uh, feldspar. It is a common rock forming crystalline mineral. This absorbs water and it becomes a mass of clay or kaolin by the process of hydration. So the other minerals present along with feldspar get separated into loose particles and the rocks just break up. So there's a change in the chemical composition. So that is why hydration is considered as a chemical weathering process. Solution is the simplest form of chemical weathering. When rain falls on the surface of the land, the rainwater dissolves soluble minerals present in the rock. The rainwater may seep below the ground through the cracks and the joints, and this may cause solution of soluble minerals in the rocks below the ground also. So, for example, sedimentary rocks, they have pore spaces between the grains in which air and water can lodge and thus affect the rocks. So some rock minerals such as salts are more soluble in water than the other. So this way chemical disintegration of rocks takes place. Alright, for example, rock salt and gypsum are examples of minerals which may be removed by solution. The insoluble minerals get separated from the soluble ones and the rock breaks up. The solution of minerals in the rocks explains the brackishness meaning the saltiness of well water in some places like in Rajasthan. Now, children, you must know the difference between physical and chemical weathering. And you have a table 9.1 on page 71 in your books, in which the difference between physical and chemical weathering is given. So, physical weathering, it is the disintegration of rocks without any change in the chemical composition. And chemical weathering is the decomposition of rocks which changes the chemical composition or constitutes of the rock, and it brings about changes in the chemical constituents of the rocks. Now the agents of physical weathering are temperature, moisture, frost action, wind, which cause the physical breakup of rocks. In chemical weathering, the temperature, moisture, etc. cause minerals in the rocks to either dissolve in water or to change their composition. Physical weathering is more rapid in the desert areas, whereas chemical weathering occurs mainly in the moist areas. Then, in physical weathering, the rocks are affected to great depths, and chemical weathering generally takes place near the surface of the earth. Then, in physical weathering, the agents are temperature, moisture, whereas in chemical weathering, the agents are water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and various other organic acids. So, children, you must learn this important table.